who he fought, what he accomplished, what he brought to the table.
Like that he fought Kendall and he lost all 3 times. And what else?
That he came off the ropes, beat George Foreman in Zaire when nobody gave him that chance in that fight. Frazier, the Hall of Famers, the very best.
They don't give me no chance, no credit in no fights.
What's that?
But Jim, you entitled to your own opinion. This is something that I know, and like I said before, I fight for me and I fight for my family, and of course I always want to entertain the fans and put on a show for the fans. But like I said before, I know deep in my heart that I'm the best.
Yeah, now
no matter what nobody say.
Hey, look,
just like you feel like you're the best commentator. But like I said, stats don't lie.
Stats don't lie. I would say if you didn't fight this fight and then were to stop right now, I couldn't put you #1, Floyd. But you got a fight left, and if you have a fight after this fight, and this fight's with Pacquiao, we could have a very different argument. So if you win this fight, is that second fight still going to happen?
I'm not worried about that. This is what I do. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Only thing I can do is say, an opinion is like an asshole. Everybody got one.
All right. Now, after this weekend, I'm not going to lie, my opinion changed on this whole thing because Floyd looked great this weekend. And I think he is in discussion for one of the greatest fighters of all time. But I just felt like he was a tad disrespectful when he was talking about Muhammad Ali and how he got, beat by Norton and all these other things. I think, he needs to respect the greats of the game. LeBron in basketball respects the greats, even though I think in his mind he may think he's better than some of them. So I think there was a lack of respect. What do y'all think?
I mean, how was it disrespectful him bringing up Muhammad Ali's losses? He's talking facts. He's not talking fiction. He's not talking bad about Muhammad Ali, what he did in the ring. He was just talking facts.
I think it was just the way he went about it, which is, the way he went about it made it look more disrespectful than being just kind of arrogant or cocky. I mean, we're talking about one of arguably the greatest fighter, not even fighter, greatest sports figure in sports history. I mean, he's up there. I mean, it's somewhere in that top 3 as far as not only just sports figures, just icons of not only black people, but of, people of color in general for what he did. But I felt like Floyd, he just showed he likes to show that cocky and arrogant side, which I think all he does is just try to put on the image of what he's probably really not.
I mean, people respect cocky and arrogant. Look at the pay-per-view numbers he does. Look at the gate he does.
He sells. He's doing his job to sell tickets. I mean, you can't knock him. That's what you're supposed to do in fight.
Yeah, we can't. I mean, we don't actually. I don't think. Me personally, I don't think anyone here at this table actually knows Floyd Mayweather personally. So that may just be a public persona he's putting on around fight time to sell tickets.
Didn't we see him at a craps table once? I don't know. I thought we seen him at the craps table once.
8 hours, so
I thought he was bigger than what he was.
We saw him, but we didn't actually. We don't know him.
But just like in anything, to build your argument, you want to put out facts. So he might did it his way, but he put up some interesting facts. It's hard when you're undefeated. Obviously, people are going to say you didn't fight anybody, but I mean, everybody you put up against him, he knocks down. I remember when he fought Ricky Hatton, everybody said, "Oh, Ricky Hatton is the one. He's going to knock out Mayweather." Now Ricky Hatton's a nobody.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm saying now he's a nobody. Okay, Sugar Shane Mosley. Now we're hearing he's old. I mean, when it comes to a point where actually when you're that good, you're going to pretty much beat almost anybody that comes to your table. And Mayweather is definitely a Hall of Famer. And honestly, he has some right to say that, yeah, I'm better than Muhammad Ali. I haven't lost. I'm perfect.
Well, the one thing we would probably see from Floyd is that major fight, and that major fight would be the Pacquiao fight. You need at least that one major fight in your career in boxing to showcase your talent. Yeah. We had Ali Frazier. You know what I'm saying? You had the 80s with Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler and all those guys. So you definitely, if Floyd wants to put his stamp as being the greatest, he needs that one signature fight. Yeah. And that one signature fight would have to be the Pacquiao fight.
No, I agree. I think that I'm a Pacquiao fan, but I think but I think that Mayweather is just that skilled of a boxer. I think he studies his opponent. He finds that weakness and he goes at it. So my whole thing now is like, okay, if Mayweather beats Pacquiao, what's going to be the new excuse?
My thing with Pacquiao is people say that Floyd handpicks his opponents, but if you look at Pacquiao's last 5 fights, with the exception of Marquez, all of the guys have been fighters that come straight forward, really aren't the best technical defensive fighters, and then throw a lot of wide looping punches. So to that effect, I think Pacquiao, for the most part, has picked his opponents, has handpicked his opponents. I think that if and when this fight between him and Floyd Mayweather goes down, it will cement Mayweather's legacy as being one of the top fighters of just our time. and people will have to respect him. If you don't respect him after the way he systematically took apart Mosley, then you'll respect him after he beats Pacquiao. But then there'll always be someone that says, well, Pacquiao was littler than him. He was a smaller fighter. Okay. So people always want to have their excuses.
Well, my thing with Pacquiao is that you know, with Pacquiao, to his credit, anybody that's hot at the time or whatever, he fights him. You know, he fights that hot person. The people that Mayweather might so-called dodge, Pacquiao's going to take them on.
Well, let me ask y'all this then. Where would you rank Floyd at as far as fighters then? Where would you rank him at?
At the present time or all time?
At both. At present time, I mean, we know he's top. At present time, he's top 1 or 2. I mean, you can't really argue that, but all the time.
At present time, just present, he's 1A, 1B. Because Pacquiao is right there. You can say whatever.
I can't say 1A,
you can say
1B.
whatever you want to say.
It's only one number one.
Look, Pat Man's numbers speak volume.
What are his numbers? What numbers are you talking about?
Knockouts.
Knockouts. Good word.
Knockouts.
Well, I mean,
that's
a lot of people.
I mean,
a lot of people don't get the distinction with boxing. Boxing is called. That's why it's called the sweet science. You hit and you don't get hit, and Floyd is the master at doing that. If you want knockouts, then you go watch MMA.
Floyd is the best right now.
Well, right now, I mean,
MMA.
With boxing, I mean, boxing's a sport where everyone's opinion for who's the best will always be different. It's not that type of sport where there's a clear number one. It's an opinionated sport. But right now, I mean, where would you rank Floyd? Do you think Floyd's better than Sugar Ray and the fighters of the '80s?
That's a good question.
You know what?
I think skill wise, I think he is better than Ray Leonard. But I will say this about Ray Leonard: I think that Ray Leonard was a more crowd pleasing fighter, because during the championship rounds, the 10th, 11th, and 12th round, Ray Leonard would put his foot on the pedal and would go for the knockout when he know he has his opponent.
And he'll turn it on at the end of a round. Yeah. Which will catch the judge's eye. But I mean, to me personally, I think if Floyd would have fought the people in that weight class during the '80s, the prime years of the '80s, I mean, I think Floyd would have been the middle of the road fighter, because we're talking Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Hagler, Hearns. I mean, those are a lot of people to fight. So I mean, where he would rank at between them, I think Floyd probably would have won a world championship, but I don't think he'd have been undefeated.
I mean, you made a great point. During the '80s and Ray Leonard's time, he had a lot more publicly noted opponents that were more respected in the welterweight.
I agree.
And the in the middleweight division. The thing with Floyd right now, and like people said about Roy Jones, they beat everyone put in front of them. You can't discard who they beat, and they can't be at a disadvantage when you're judging them because of the opposition, the level of opposition they faced during their era.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're talking about, well, that's how boxing is. I mean, boxing is a sport where it's like that. So I mean, that's how boxing is. So I mean, Ray, you're a boxing fan. What you think?
I mean, right now I think it's hands down. The resume speaks for itself, man. ESPN is calling, is trying to offer us deals still. I told y'all about that a couple weeks ago. AOL Fan House hit us up yesterday. Anyway, partner interruption, but this is not that show. This is a better show. Y'all can go tell them that too. We can debate him. Anyway, I think right now he's the best fighter. I do like Bernard. I'm not gonna lie. But that's a whole different weight class. And I mean, I'm not the boxing expert actually, but numbers don't lie. But while he was out there fighting, Chili was sitting at the table waiting for him. I don't know if y'all seen that on a reality show, but Chili, I'll pick you up, baby. Anyway, we gotta take a commercial break.
It was a clear black night. What's up? This Warren G, you know what I'm saying? I'm here giving it up for RAD because they do a lot of good things for people. Before you drink, make sure that you got somebody that can drive your butt home so you won't crash or get pulled over and get a DUI. So go ahead and follow the route and everything will be cool. And don't be no fools. Peace, baby. Warren G.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Yes, and we're back, and we are taking over again. We are everywhere. We on Twitter,